What was supposed to be Guillermo del Toro's best movie is almost assuredly never going to happen. The director is one of the most successful Spanish filmmakers working in the industry. Del Toro has 3 Oscars, Best Picture and Best Director for The Shape of Water and Best Animated Feature for Pinocchio. However, despite his extraordinary accomplishments, Del Toro was unable to bring his dream project to life. There is one movie that could have combined the elements of Pan's Labyrinth, Hellboy, The Shape of Water, and Kronos, and resulted in what was going to be Del Toro's masterpiece. Now, the project is likely dead. Guillermo del Toro's At the Mountains of Madness is one of development hell's most infamous residents. At the Mountains of Madness. Guillermo del Toro's dream project was a movie called At the Mountains of Madness. The film would be a rare straight adaptation of an H.P. Lovecraft horror tale. The 1936 novella was a sci-fi cosmic horror tale about an explorer named William Dyer who leads a team to the Antarctic, only to find great horrors. Del Toro had his sights on this being his masterpiece, taking what he had previously done in his movies and making what would be the exclamation point in his career. Sadly, movie studios had other ideas. Del Toro had the script ready in 2006, which he co-wrote alongside Matthew Robbins, Crimson Peak, Pinocchio. Del Toro encountered some resistance, and Warner Brothers turned the project down on more than one occasion. However, Del Toro refused to give up and created, he said, over 300 pieces of art, storyboards, models, a whole presentation. Del Toro even said he might release these for the public one day. What is most shocking is that Guillermo del Toro had some big names joining him, and he still couldn't get At the Mountains of Madness greenlit. Tom Cruise signed on to play Dr. William Dyer, and James Cameron agreed to produce the film. Cameron even said he would let Del Toro use the equipment he used in Avatar. The biggest problem for studios was that Del Toro wanted $150 million to make the movie. He refused to budge on its R rating and planned to make it a 3D horror film. This was too much for Universal, which felt it was too much money for something that might not recoup its investment with the R rating and the 3D requirements. The idea of a Lovecraftian 3D horror movie was a stretch, honestly, as that might not be a big selling point for anyone but the hardcore sci-fi horror fans. With the new rejection, Del Toro directed Pacific Rim instead of At the Mountains of Madness, and that proved to be a success. It also didn't help that Universal's Prometheus had a similar Lovecraftian storyline. With that movie as part of the Alien franchise, it had a bigger chance of success, and Universal didn't want the two films to cannibalize each other. Del Toro tried one more time to sell it to Legendary, and still couldn't get it off the ground. Guillermo del Toro just cast even more doubt on At the Mountains of Madness. Guillermo del Toro presenting a necklace in Cabinet of Curiosities. Sadly, it looks like even Guillermo del Toro has closed the door on his dream project. In a recent interview with Empire, Del Toro stated that he feels it is time to close the cycle on the films he has been making, now that he has completed Frankenstein. It sounds like he is moving away from his more gothic horrors. Del Toro pointed out his films, from Kronos to The Devil's Backbone to Pan's Labyrinth to Crimson Peak, and finally to Frankenstein. He said it was an evolution of a certain type of aesthetic that might have reached its conclusion. While he never got to make At the Mountains of Madness, he said it was time for a change. However, this does mean that Guillermo del Toro might have realized that his dream of making a H.P. Lovecraft masterpiece film will never come to fruition. He even admitted in the interview that he will probably never get to make the movie, although he will never say never that The Mountains of Madness would surely be Del Toro's masterpiece. Guillermo del Toro and Oscar Isaac filming Frankenstein. This is highly disappointing for Guillermo del Toro fans. While Frankenstein has been getting positive reviews, most of his fans have been impatiently awaiting the day that he could make his masterpiece, At the Mountains of Madness. Del Toro giving up on it is a sobering thought after all these years. Del Toro has proven to be the master of gothic fairy tale movies. His masterpieces remain his Spanish-language releases. The Devil's Backbone ranks among horror's greatest ghost stories, and Pan's Labyrinth remains the director's greatest cinematic achievement. At the Mountains of Madness could have eclipsed both movies. The movie, which would have been rated R, would have retained Lovecraft's horror intact, and it was never meant to have a happy ending. This was a movie that was meant to make people think, and that is where Del Toro stands tall above his contemporaries. It would have had a great actor and producer working with him as well.